Calvin Chastain in beautiful downtown Malone on this Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, 2012, and we're continuing with our look at the Rutland Railroad Fan Club, whatever their official name is, annual convention. And we're looking at the old station in Moores that was created by a man we're about to talk to. Okay, we have on camera with us someone that we tend to do more with at a future date, but since he's here and I'm here, and you're all the way from Troy, is it?
No, I actually live in Albany now. I lived in Troy for a while, but I moved over to Albany, and I've been there for about 10 years now.
Well, sometimes I don't know when I'm in Troy and when I'm in Albany. They kind of mesh into one.
Yeah, they almost do. Yeah.
Andy Claremont?
Yes, Andy Claremont. I grew up in Plattsburgh. Yeah, and 3 generations of my family before me worked for the Rutland, and that's where I've got my interest.
Okay, so the generations before you, so that would be your father was the last one then, or?
Yeah, my father only worked for a short time in high school, part-time for the railroad. His father was a section foreman and was killed in Moores plowing snow.
Oh, wow.
And my father then stopped working for the railroad, went into the military after that, and then moved to Plattsburgh.
So, did he quit the railroad because of that?
He kind of left after that experience, went into the military. He was over in Europe for a few years at the end of the war, and when he came back moved to Plattsburgh to go to school, and then the railroad was kind of winding down and went out of business, so there wasn't that to go back to.
Okay. So did he grow up in Moores then?
Well, he grew up all along the Ogdensburg and Lake Champlain subdivision of the railroad because his father was a section foreman, and every few years you'd bid out a new job and try to move up, and they lived in locations all across upstate New York.
All those exotic locales.
I think he said he moved 19 times in 16 years.
That's a little much.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's almost being like a military child.
So I know you still have some family in the area. Your sister is the editor at the Press Republican, Lois?
Yes, yep. My brother, Morrison and Miller, real estate and insurance, and a couple other sisters in town. Yeah, yes.
Okay. So your interest in the Rutland goes back to your family roots then?
It does. By the time I was 6 years old, my father, who still had an interest in the Rutland, was a model railroader, and he got me started very young. And since then, other than a few years during college, I've always been modeling the Rutland, and I'm still not done. So
how many dioramas of things have you done?
I've actually built about a 200-foot-long model railroad with quite a bit of it finished now. And like you said, sometime in the future, I'd love to have you come down and do a piece on that.
I'm not sure if we bump that camera. I'm not sure if it's pointing at you right now. Don't move, Andy. Yep, we're still in there. It's just me and my tripod. People wander by.
I've seen your piece on Sheridan Iron there, and although not all of it, but I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, well, we have a variety. Right now we're recording this, we've got 7,700 videos online, so...
I've browsed through several of them, so...
If you watch them all to their entirety, you can be there for a while.
Yeah, I guess so.
So you've got a 200-foot section, you're saying?
My basement is filled. It goes all the way around the outside wall, and in some places double surround.
How did you move? You moved from Troy to Albany?
Well, this has all been built since I moved to Albany about 10 years ago. Okay. But a lot of the models I built through the years and brought them along. So then I've built what I hope is the last version of my Rutland Railroad. I don't intend to move again. Okay. And I'm sort of putting it all together now in the basement.
What scale?
HO scale.
HO.
Yep.
That's, I think, the most popular scale.
It is, and it's the one with the largest variety of available models. Although I build a lot of my stuff myself because nobody does a Malone station.
No,
right. So you have to, get photographs and study the building. There's old plans available in a lot of cases. and I'll build a scale model of the actual building, and that's what I try to do at all the locations along the railroad.
Fortunately, you didn't the nearest one to Malone. I don't know if it would be Chateauguay or if there was another station between here and Chateauguay. You don't go scale-wise in the distances.
No, you have to pick and choose, and I've picked places along the railroad that were important for interchange with other railroads, or were sort of a common feel to them of the little towns in upstate New York. So I had to select about 20 locations out of all the locations that pass through in upstate New York, and each one of them, I have stories about what went on there, and from my family or from other railroad people, and every spot as I run the train through, I feel like I'm traveling through upstate New York because I have all these memories and all in my head.
Well, as I mentioned when I got here earlier today, and I've mentioned several times over the years, we keep hearing up our way here that the rooftop highway that they want to put in, they've been wanting to do that since Bob McEwen was our congressman. And we had an upstate rooftop highway. It was called the Rutland Railroad.
I'll tell you one story my mother tells me, that she was going to nursing school in Ogdensburg and lived in Plattsburgh, and they were at church on Sunday morning when they realized that daylight savings time had ended or begun. I forget which it was, but anyway, they had to race to Rouse's Point to get my mother up there to meet the milk train in time so that she could get on it and ride out to Ogdensburg. And unfortunately, she remembers that part of the story, but the ride across the railroad, she doesn't remember anything about that.
Well, that was routine. She did that all the time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of people kind of took it for granted that it'd always be there. And
that happens a lot. And I'm glad we have this group because we've sort of preserved the history. And you would think after all these years of our group being together, you wouldn't learn new things, but every year something new pops up. And through your station, I discovered the Sheridan Iron Works and all the information. And it's a neat way to store history.
Well, that was certainly no secret. That story was there, but if the stories aren't told, then it becomes hidden.
It does, and so much information's available nowadays that you can kind of lose it in the mass of what there is out there. You got to really search things out in some cases, and talking to people seems to be the best way to do it.
Now, what's the official name of this club?
The Rutland Railroad Historical Society.
Well, there's a website, so if people are interested in learning more about it,
yes,
they can certainly go to that website.
Yep. You search that, and you'll come right to it.
And just under 400 members, is that what I heard today?
Yeah, we've been around 400 members for quite a few years now, and always looking for new ones, and they do show up once in a while.
Well, like anything else, particularly when you're in this type of a situation, you've got to get new ones because the average age and the old ones.
Yeah, well, we're all getting old together, so at least
they have a habit of disappearing.
Yeah, they do, and it's unfortunate, but we're enjoying it while we can.
So, what other? You say you got 20 such displays?
I've modeled Alberg on the mile-long trestle across Lake Champlain, Rouse's Point Yard, Ross's Point Junction, which was also in Ross's Point where the Delaware and Hudson crossed the Rutland. Dewey Cut, the bridge that few people knew about over Dewey Cut. Sheridan Iron Works, Champlain. Between Champlain and Moores, the railroad had 4 bridges, one at Perry's Mills, one over Beaver Creek, one over Dubois Road, and then another one over the Great Chazy River again. Modeled those. Moores, the station at Moores, Ellenburg Creamery and the little yard in Ellenburg with the station, and Chateauguay is what I have done. And
Malone.
and I plan to do Malone.
Plan to do it?
Well, no, I mean I plan to do the whole Malone
thing?
Junction, Morton Siding,
Wow.
Malone and Malone Yard. So I built the station for this convention this year. Was my goal to have that done. And then I'm going to actually continue on through Brushton, North Lawrence, and to Norwood.
What are you going to do? You're going to have to buy your neighbor's property and dig your basement wider.
My wife has been very nice to me in allowing me to have our basement, as long as she could have like upstairs laundry and such. And I've got the space to do it. And,
you do? Okay.
and hopefully the time.
Okay, well, I know Chris Trombley has certainly mentioned your name. Robbie Clark has mentioned your name, and we can find a time that's convenient to you and to Chris and myself. We're certainly going to go down. It's as you know, driving up here from Albany, it's not something you do
Right? Yeah.
spending the whole day.
Yep. Well, I'd enjoy that, and the thing about the model railroad and model railroading nowadays is the trains really run. And we actually have a group of 10 people that meet once a month, and we run the model railroad, like the Rutland ran the railroad. So when you come down and we show you the railroad, we'll show you the railroad running.
Okay.
Okay?
That sounds like a winning idea.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Andy.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. That's Mr. Andy Claremont from Albany, originally from the Plattsburgh area, and his family here from Malone, Moore's area. So this is all meticulously done. When we talk to Andy at his home, we'll find out how it was done. He did tell us off camera that this stuff was cast individually. So he has put a whole lot of hours into just this one station, and hopefully when we get there we'll see 20 stations. Obviously not all as elaborate as this Malone station was. It's certainly a fantastic looking station back in its heyday. So our thanks to this Rutland group for allowing us to be here today, and I have a Civil War reenactment going on in Beekmantown that I have to get to, but we didn't want to miss this. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and for those of you who understand, this is viewer-supported local television, and without viewer support, whether you're watching on a local cable system or on the internet, we need your support to keep this programming coming, and we appreciate the people who have contributed through the internet, through PayPal in the recent times. Thanks for watching.